TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Believe me through some of the WCW, gimmicks they had for you.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of us checked out at that time.
Oh, yeah. Well, basically, I was under contract, had to do what they told me to do. So it all fell apart for me in WCW when Hulk Hogan and Jeff Jarrett in Miami. I'm sure you know what happened. Jeff Jarrett laid down for Hogan. Hogan, big old thing with Russo. I guess Russo thought I was just too close a kin or something to Hogan, whatever. He fired Horace right off the bat. And I don't think he fired me because he had just hired me away from ECW. And these guys were really worried about what the internet and what everybody says about him and what they think. So I guess he just decided he was going to bury me and maybe hope I'd quit. I'm not sure. So, boom, right off the bat, sticks me as the fat chick thriller. No longer the career killer. Now I'm the fat chick thriller. What kind of gimmick is that? Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. Got over it did not get over. So I got over zero.
Aside from just being wrestling, how did you being a family man and all, how did that make you feel having to portray this?
Oh, no problem at all. It's, wrestling's a work. No problem. Absolutely no problem at all. Like I said, wrestling is a work. So it doesn't affect what I do here at the home.
Right.
So, but yeah, that got over very bad, very bad. I knew things were going really bad when Heidi, that was my big fat love maid, which she was a very sweet girl, I felt bad always going out there and doing fat jokes on her, fat this, fat that, because that's really not me. And I felt bad about it. And I had a conscience, and I felt bad about it. But I knew things were really going downhill for me when she dove off the second rope, hit me with the worst clothesline in the history of professional wrestling, and I got pinned by, I can't remember who I got pinned by, but somebody pinned me. So then from there, Russo, one day we're in the hallway, we're passing, he stops me, he goes, "Hey, Mike, every time I see you, I think 80s guy," because, the mullet and all that. And come out of Japan, I was still wearing 80s clothes, 80s style. I wasn't hip to what was going on here in the States. And he said, "You want to make me the 80s guy?" I'm like, "Okay, the 80s guy. Well, whatever, whatever you want to do, sure, I'll do it." And somehow it became the 70s guy. And boom, there we go, Mike Awesome, that 70s guy. Lava Lamp Lounge. While the Lava Lamp Lounge was interesting and sometimes fun, it was lame for wrestling because it was not wrestling. Like I said, it was interesting and fun, but it wasn't wrestling. I'm a wrestler.
You said you elected on your own to work with ECW. Were you tired of traveling to Japan at all, or were you just really happy about it?
No, just decided I would give America a chance and see what would happen. And I was I think my boy was like 2 years old, so I was ready to maybe be home. I don't know. It's just a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Onita no longer being in ECW, in FMW, no longer feeling that obligation, wanting to apply my talents and see how the American crowd would accept me.
Did you have any feelers from WWF or WCW while you were working for ECW?
No, not at that time, no.
Probably the thing that people remember the most with ECW is after you had won the title.
Yeah.
You left to go to WCW.
Right.
And I'm guessing based upon our conversation, you're saying you left because you didn't have a contract. You felt you had
right. No, I did not have a contract.
And you still have the world belt.
At that time,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had their belt. Basically, I was driving to the show, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? We did not get paid last week. We're not getting paid this week. What's going on? Why do they keep missing our paydays? They just kept, we get paid sporadically.
Right.
And just kept missing paydays. And I was like thinking, what did I do? I left my job in Japan for this. I just bought the house that I'm doing this interview in right now. I started thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not even going to be able to make my mortgage payments. So, I was talking to Horace actually on the telephone, and he said, "Mike," he goes, "what are you doing?" He goes, "I can't believe you're doing that." He goes, "I got Hulk Hogan right next to me." Boom, he hands the phone to Hogan. Hogan gets on the phone with me. "Brother, what are you doing? You can't be working for free." He goes, "Just turn around, and if I was you, I'd take my ass home." Basically, that's what I did. I turned around and went home. Mm-hmm. And from there, started talking with Bischoff and Russo. And you know what happened then? Got a job. Mm-hmm. Then Paul and all the legal wranglings came down on me. And if I had a contract with Paul, I would not have been able to go to WCW. So,
what was your solution? Did you just want to get the belt back because you didn't have a contract, or?
Yeah, I could care less about the belt. I mean, the belt
So the
really,
belt, yeah.
while I was there, and even though I was the champion, it's cool to be the champion. That's not everything. Being able to provide for your family is number one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the belt meant absolutely nothing at that point because I wasn't providing properly for my family.
Right.
And I felt like I'd made a bad career move by leaving Japan.
And I'm sure you've heard the criticism, and everybody talked about the story.
Sold out.
I want you to tell me your side of the story.
My side of the story, basically, like I told you, could not provide for my family, wasn't getting paid. Basically, the checks just weren't coming in the way they were supposed to. All the promises that were made were not coming to.
I meant I'm sorry, I should make
okay.
Your side of the story when you went back to drop the title.
Okay.
Because they said it was reported that you sat outside the front, you did not go in the locker room.
Oh yeah, I wasn't allowed in the locker room. Paul did not allow me in the locker room. I had a piece of paper that was faxed to me from Paul's attorney telling exactly what would go on. They said that they would have a hotel room, which they did not, and I didn't want their hotel room anyways. They said they had the match lined out exactly how they wanted the match. They wanted me to be waiting outside until it was time for me to enter the ring and come in through the front door. They didn't want me in the dressing room. They didn't want any problems. Everything was being conducted by the lawyers at that point. So both sides just wanted to make sure everything was going to go right and go smooth. So
did you hear anything from people in the locker room, or do you think this was all just Paul?
Yeah, well,
because the ironic part, and I always thought that this might just be one of Paul's little angles to work everybody. Right. I mean, he built it up for a week, saying that he wasn't going to be in the locker room. He did this. Coincidentally, the house is packed.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh gosh, it was great. Even though everything that was going on, I loved it. It was great. Walking through that crowd, everybody chanting, "You sold out, you sold out." I felt good. I felt good about it. I knew I didn't sell out. I knew I just had to provide for my family. And if they knew what was going on, they'd have done the exact same thing I did. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I am disappointed about, I really wish that he would not have had me out there with this match laid out with Taz. I wish he would have stuck me out there with Rhino and allowed Rhino and I to come up, because I would have gave them a stellar performance. I would have went out there and I would have done it. I would have gave them a match of a lifetime if it could have been with somebody like Rhino, somebody that I trust and I know that would not try to hurt me on purpose out there. I couldn't trust Taz. When he hooked his finisher on me, had my hand up there. I wasn't going to let him hook that finisher on me, choke me out. Get that. So, you look at the footage, you can see my hands up there. No way. I had to protect myself all the way. So, like I said, that's what I'm disappointed in. I really wish it was a match like with Rhino. About the only person at that time that I would have trusted from there. Mm-hmm. So,
did you see Rhino's potential right away? Because
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. So did Sabu. Sabu is actually the one that got Rhino the job in ECW. Well, Rhino got his own job there, but Sabu actually got him a tryout there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Talk about starting with WCW.
WCW. All right. So, going to WCW. First night, boom, injunction. Can't wrestle, can't do anything. There's an injunction. Actually, that was the second night. Second night, show up. There's an injunction. Not even allowed to be in the arena. Crazy. Well, so they sent me home. And the lawyers battled it out. Boom, everybody signed a bunch of papers, and we were good to go. Basically is how it came about.
You joined WCW, and what a lot of people would say was a creative mess.
Yeah, it was. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. Creative mess.
When you started off, what was the original plans that they had laid out for you?
Come in strong, be career killer, kick ass, do what I was doing in ECW. Fizzled out pretty quickly when none of the top guys wanted to do any of the stuff that I did. So got guys out there like Paige, Lex Luger. No, they weren't out there for the company or out there for the match or for the moment. They were out there for themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had also met up with probably a few other ECW guys that defected before you.
Yeah.
You sympathized with everything that happened?
Yeah, most definitely. Everybody that's worked for ECW just about everybody that's worked there has been burned. Most everybody I talked to.
TitleMatchNetwork.com